share my screen first. Okay, so hello everyone. Thanks for joining us, and a special thanks to Jens for organizing this session and give us this opportunity to gather as a community and improve our knowledge. So today, my name is Vahid. If that name, and I'm living in Sydney, Australia, if that name is not familiar for you, because I'm originally from Iran and I'm Persian, but now at the moment I'm living in Sydney, Australia. Today, I want to talk about how to call Power BI Rest API by using Power Automate, or how to invoke Power BI Rest API by using Power Automate. I have a few slides today, and then most of my session will be a demo session. So I think Jens covered this session, this area very well. Thank you. So let's move to the agenda, what we want to do today. So first, we want to know what is the API and why we need to use that API. And then we want to know how we can use the API by running a flow on Power Automate. So we can run a Power API by the PowerShell, but we want to know how to run it by Power Automate, or maybe sometimes schedule some flow and run the API and use the output of that. So first of all, we want to know the prerequisite or predecessors of that running the flow, which is the set up the Azure Active Directory app and then configure the Power BI service. We need to set up the app on Azure and then configure Power BI service to use the Power Automate and run the API. And then I will show you how to set up the HTTP on flow. To running the API, we need to use the HTTP action, and we need to customize that action on the action with some information. I will show you how to complete that and set up that one. And at the end, I want to show you how to run a flow, complete that flow, and manage the output of that. How we can run a flow and send the output of that flow to your email, to Microsoft Teams, to save that on CSV. And about the last one, which is part of my presentation, which was part of my presentation before, but now is still there because previously we had to use the API to run a DAX query against the dataset. But recently, early this year, Microsoft added the certify action to the Power BI for the Power BI to the Power BI actions on Power Automate. So you don't need to use the HTTP and API anymore. There is a certify action there. You just need to use that one. But I will do my best to cover all of these 4 items in less than 1 hour. So, okay, so let's start with API. What is API? Okay, so APIs are mechanisms that enable 2 software components to communicate with each other using a set of definition and protocols. That's the definition on the Amazon website. So, but in other words, we can say the API is the software-to-software interface, not a user interface, which the 2 or more computer programs to communicate with each other with that API. So to make that clear, let's move to this example. So API works is often compared to ordering food at the restaurant. So as you can see here, we have a customer here, we have a waiter here, and we have a kitchen and the chef in here. So the customer, which will raise the request and order something, is the client here, and the waiter is the API, because that person will communicate between the customer and the kitchen. So the customer will say, okay, order for example, the pizza. So then the waiter will get that order and then communicate with the kitchen and inform them there is an order for the pizza in the restaurant. So that's the request from here, from the client to the kitchen. And then when the food is ready, the waiter will bring that to the customers. We take it there. So give that to the customers. So that's the result of that. So we can find that the API is this waiter, which is the connection between the customer and kitchen, which is the server. So we have an application. Sometimes we open our application or software on our phone and then set something. And then when you click on that one, we send a request to the server. Server will process that request and then prepare the result for that one and the answer that and send a response to that request. So there are many benefits of using the API, the first and most important one is the automation. We can automate some jobs and tasks with the API. We can customize a task easier, and we can flexible delivery of information and easier integration. I think now this is much more clear than before. So we have 4 different ways that API can work. So first of all is the SOAP API. The second one is the remote procedure calls or RPC APIs and WebSockets APIs and REST APIs. But we want to focus on the REST APIs because the Power BI has the REST API. So that REST APIs is for that REST stands for the representational state transfer. These are which is the most popular and flexible APIs found on the web today. The client that customer send a request to the server with the API, and then the server use the client input to start internal function and return the output data back to the client. So that's it. That's what API do. So okay. The other information we need to know before we move to the demo and show how we can use that by using use the Power BI REST APIs by Power BI Power Automate is the methods, REST API methods. There are 5 methods which we need to know. But the first one is the get, the second, and then the post, put, patch, and delete. So these four main one are equal to this code that's very popular within the computer programming to create, read, and update and delete, and they name it the code. So the post means to create something, to drive the data from from the resource, or to create. The post is to create something, which is here. Create data at the resource, and then the get is the read data to get the information, retrieve data from the resource. Put is update, and then the delete is delete as well. But we have another one, which is the patch, and that patch is similar to put, and that but with one small difference, and that's the partially update data and resources. So we have all of these methods when we want to use the Power BI API. So all of them, we can use all of them based on the API we want to use. So at the end, this is my last slide of presentation. What we want to do, we want to use the Power Automate and then send the request to Power BI, get the result, and use that result. And then we can send it on an email or save it as a CSV or just send it on the Teams. Before that, before using that one, before start creating the flow, there is one big predecessor for that one. To use the Power BI REST API, we need to set up an app on Azure AD. So we need to register an active Azure Active Directory application in Azure, and then we need to set up Power BI, and then we can set up that app by open the portal Azure and create that from the scratch, or we can use the Power BI embed. Okay, let's demo time. Okay, so this is the website for the Power BI REST API. If you search for just the Google Power BI API, then you can find the first one is the Power BI REST APIs. So in there, and you can see that mentioned that to use the Power BI REST API, you need to register the Active Directory application in Azure. So there are 2 ways to create that one. The first one is go to the portal Azure and then create that from scratch. And that's one solution. You can go to Azure Active Directory here. Then here you can see one item here, app register. Click on it, and then you can register application and then use that for Power BI. But I don't want to use that. I want to use another method which is more easier and better than this one. I found that easier way. So for that, for using that one, you need to go to the app powerbi.com embedded setup, and then this page you have 2 options. Let me send this links in the chat, then you will be able to find them. Okay, so now there are two options for me to create Power BI embedding environments. So one of them is embed for customer, and the second one is embed for organization. So the difference between them is when you want to share your Power BI or create a with the customers, or you want to embed your Power BI in application for your customers or in application or web, you need to use this one. But there are two methods, and the difference is for embed for your customer, the Power BI, the user don't need to have a Power BI account and don't need to have a pro license or any different type of license. You will set that app by using one master user, or the user you set up this one, and whenever that's your customer or user, one end user want to run that app or use that app, will use that master user. But for the embed for your organization, the organization one is different because user will need a Power BI account and permission to access the underlying content. So that the permission by the user to the user is different, and you need to give it permission to the different user to use that. For this one, for this demo, I want to use the embed for your organization. So if I click on that one, and the other thing is, if you want to create this app by using this Power BI embedding, you need to have the admin access for the portal. You need to be a global admin for this tenant, or have a right access as admin access to create the app on or define the app on Azure. So I have that access, and I created my user just for this demo, and that's a sandbox. I always use that sandbox. If you check for that's a Microsoft 365 developer sandbox. If you check on the net, you can find how you can create one for yourself that will give you 25 Microsoft 365 E5 license, and you can run your different scenarios, check the other things with your, and then when you find the best solution, then you can implement in the real area. Just if you want to find how to create that sandbox account, if you search it on the net, Rezarad and Radacat create a great post about that one. You can search it on the net and then use. There are few steps to create that one. Okay, so just click on next. The first one, the first question here is the application name. I want to use PBI APIs. So let me just add a dash between them. And then the home page for this one, I can add the HTTP, just the Microsoft Power BI, powerbi.com. Okay, or I can say just Power BI here, and this one, I just copy this one, add it there. That's the home page for this one. And then the redirect URL, we keep it as a default one, and this is the important one. So here, that will ask us which type of access we need for this API. So if you create that from scratch from here, you need to go to that app and then define the access and different access for that application. But here, the most of the access, most of the item you need are defined here, and you can select that one. So what's the difference between these items? If you back to that Power BI API website, for example, if I check one of them, for example, I'll delete the group or delete the workspace, the required scope is mentioned here. So we need the workspace read, write, all. So that is the part of this item. So read and write, data flow, read and write, scope, capacity, workspace. So for this demo, I will select all. I want to give all access to this app to run any type of the API, and just click register. Okay, when I click the register, that's 99% done. The other two steps are optional, and I want to leave them blank, so I don't want to use them. So I just skip and skip. So I will click skip and skip. So these two information are important, especially this application secret, because we need to use that when we want to set up our HTTP action on Power Automate. So I will copy this one into the note, and here we'll save that somewhere on my computer to keep it safe. Okay, but I will keep this page open. So back to here. There wasn't any application here, so let's refresh that. So view all application, and now we have that application on our portal, on our Microsoft Azure AD app registration portal. So here you can see there is application. The application ID is here, which is the same as this application ID here. And then we can even modify that application. So now we have in here API permission. We selected all permissions here, and they have all the items. We have all the items here. But if you want to modify that, you can click on add a permission. Here you can select the Power BI service because we want to run the Power BI API by using this app. Click on this one. There are 2 items. This item has only 2 items. We don't need to use them. We just need to use these 2 items if you want to use some part of this, some of these APIs, but not for that's not part of this demo right now. But in here, delegated permissions, I selected all of them. So all of them are selected, so I can add more. For example, I can add this, and this one. User stay and tenant, and add a permission to it. So now I added those items here, and I want to grant the admin consent for the Microsoft. This MSFT is my tenant name. So if I click on that one and click yes, I will give the status of them will change, and they have the admin access to run those things. So our API now, we have the application on our map Azure, and we can use that and we can connect that to the Power BI, and we can use that in Microsoft Flow or Microsoft Power Automate to run the flow. Okay, application is completed, but we need to set and change some configuration on Power BI service before we start running the flow on Power Automate. The first one and the most important one is go to the admin portal. In the tenant setting, if you scroll down to developer area, developer setting, I need to allow service principal to use Power BI APIs. This is disabled right now, and that's a web app registered in Azure AD, which we created right now. So just need to enable that one and set the entire organization. Or if you have any specific security group, you can select that here, but I want to give the access to entire group. If I click apply, that will be enabled, but that said, okay, maybe that takes time, 15 minutes, but most of the time it will be okay after less than 1 minute. So I added that one here. So let's go to the Power Automate. We need this one, we need this one, we don't need this one. Okay, in Power Automate, I want to create flow. I want to create, go to my flow and create a stand flow right now. I'm going to manually trigger flow. And the first item I'm going to use, if we want to run the API, we need to use the HTTP. So if I click HTTP here, there are 3 items. I want to use this one. As you can see, that's the premium one. It means you need to have a license, Power Automate license. You can check your license here in view my license, and then here I have the temporary one, which is the Terial one, and I can run those premium connectors, and then so I can run it. But if you have the free license, you can't run it by using Power Automate. You need to have that license to run this one. Okay, so click on HTTP, and then the first thing here is method. So the method one have that 5 items. We talk about that in this slide. So we have 5 items here: get, post, put, page, and delete. So we can select one of them. How we can find that which one is the good method for running the API? In the API website of the Power BI, if you say, for example, I want to get the group user, get the groups. That group means the workspaces. So here in the HTTP, that mentioned get. So I need to set that get. But if I want to delete the group, the first item here in the method, in the example here, it shows the method we need to set to running this API. So I want to use this one, for example, get report, get groups. With the groups means that workspaces. So I will select the get here and then copy this one from here, easy to here. And then I have the header query body, which this API doesn't need those items, but I need to set up the authentication. So here, I want to use the Active Directory OAuth. So here, and then I need to set up this one here. The first one is not mandatory, it's optional. I don't want to add anything here. So first thing I need is the tenant ID. Here in my application, I have the tenant ID here. So I can copy this one, paste it here. And then we have the audience here, which I can use for the audience one, I can use this website. Not this one here, which is the Power BI API. Let me share it in this chat as well. So API, and then we need the client ID, which is this one, the client ID here. And then for the secret, we need to use this secret because we created that one from here. We need to use this secret. If you go to the application on API on the Microsoft Azure portal and go to the certification secrets, you can see different secret here, and that's API. That's not a good one for this setup. We need to use, if you're using embed Power BI embedding, make sure to use this secret. Okay. We create this one. Let's run it and check that that works or not. So we should encounter an error, and I want to tell you why and how we can fix that error. So let's run it. That runs, that works, but the value here is nothing. But I have 4 workspaces here. So I thought we will encounter the issues, but it ran, but no output here. So why we don't have the information there, because we need to add that application. We need to give the access to that application to each workspace. If I add that application here, if I search for PBI, then I can see, if I find that application here, then I will give that application the admin right, save that one. And if I run this one again, I can see that demo workspace there. So let's run it again. Now I can see the demo workspace. The type is workspace, the name is demo. So if I want to see all workspaces, I need to give the same access to that application. So search for that one, give the admin here, and then search for the work as well. PBI. The name of the application I created here, PBI, you can search it here and then give it the admin access, done. So now I can run that again and I will find the new result, which has all those 3 workspaces in the list. So now I have 3 workspaces here, 1, 2, 3 workspaces. So now, for instance, I want to use this workspace, this application, but I want to share the information, the output with the other users. So we need to add some other flow. But before that, I want to show you something with the body and headers. Before that, let's move to here and let's add a group user. We want to add the user to one of those workspaces. Let me find this demo one and see we have Alex, so PBI, this one, and I want to add another user to this list. Okay, so let me find the user first, and then here at the post user, the method is post. Let's check this one, change this one to post, and then we have the HTTP group ID user, and that group ID is the workspace ID. So here, after the group in here, you can see. Let me just zoom it a little. I close that. Okay, so let me open that one again. Demo. Yes, control. Here, you can see after the group there is a number here, and we need that number. Okay, I will copy that group name here because we want to add that user to this area. So here, copy this one to here, change that one, and then copy this group name and replace here. So now we have that one, but to add that one, to add the user, we need to define that user here. So we need to use this as a body of the of our API. So here, I'm going to add the body here, and then they said the other thing you can check if you want to create that one, the good help for you is just click on this try. That will give you the good info inside here. So see, the content type is a header. You can add a content type in the header, same one here with this one. And then you can use or copy this one there. But I copied the other one, and I need to add the email address here. So I need to go to user and find someone here. This one is good, the Adel. So copy this one back to here, added this here, and group user admins here. So now we don't have that user here. So let's run it and check, see that works or not. Okay, that's done. So let's back here, refresh this one, check the access here to see that the user added here or not. Yes, we have Adel here with the admin access. Just imagine if you want to give the access to some people, you can write, you can create a Microsoft Forms, share that with the people they want to access to their workspaces, and then based on the information or the information you get from that form when they submit the form, you can automatically add the user or give them the access by running this API. So this is one of those items. So let's back to our previous one, get groups here, and this one should be get, and we don't need the body here. And we just want to run this one, get the name of the workspace, but this time we want to use those information and the output and send that to the email or Microsoft Teams. Okay, so now if I want to use the output of that, the output of this one, let's run it again. The output of this will be a JSON one. So here you can see the output is the body and the output is the JSON one. So I can't use that one to create a table. So we copy this JSON body, the body here, and I'll add the new step here as a parse JSON. In the data operation, we have a parse JSON, and the content will be at the output of the HTTP, which is the body. So we can't find the different items there because that body has the name of workspace, the ID of that one, but here is only one JSON file, which has all of those items. I will select this one, and here I need to write the schema, but I copied this output here, so I want to generate from the sample. Click here, paste it here, and done, and that will create that schema for me. So test it again. So this one, manually run it again. So now the output is much more better. How we can find that? Because if I add another step to here, again, operation here, and I wanna select those information from the items there. So I wanna create the table, but first I need to select the information from here. So from the body of the parse JSON, I need to map the, for example, ID, which is the workspace ID, and that will be the ID here. So you saw, you see that the output of the by HTTP just 3 items, but when we parse the JSON, we can find all of those output here. So I want to set, okay, ID here, and then I want to say, okay, create a name, and that's the workspace name. Where is that one? Should be here. Okay, oh, not here. Space name. So now that because the output is more than one row, that will apply to each value from this parse JSON. So let's run it again. Okay, we ran from primitive values. Okay, so we just need to change one thing here. Let me bring this one here. Okay, let's create it from scratch. Or maybe we can just, no, we need that one. Select here, and then from the value here, not the body one. So ID, it will be ID, and then the name will be the name. Okay, that works well. So output is here, but we want to make that table now. We need to add another operation, which is the create the HTML table. The table is from the output of the select. We select those data, and then we want to send that to our Microsoft Teams. We want to receive those information on Microsoft Teams. So let's find a message. Where is that post message? Okay, post message chat or bot here, channel here. So let's connect that. Way to create a connection. Okay, we want to post as a flow bot. Yes, we want to get this. What? A Chinese one. I don't know what's going on. The flow bot here. Okay, so I think this is it. Correct. Well, I think when I set up this one, I select it says some other countries in Australia, so it shows me that kind of those names. But anyway, let's do it another way. Let's copy this one. My friend, chat with press, but yeah, okay. This one, this one. Group chat, no. I need this one. Come on. Okay, so we select the third one, which will be the chat with the Power Automate bot. The recipient of this one, who will receive this one. So we can select the name here, but I can write just my email address here, which is this one. And then the message here will be that HTTP table. So here, let me open the Microsoft Teams here and run this one again. Yes, we need that connection on flows. Okay, that works well, and we receive a message here. So it seems my Mandarin language works well. So thank you, Google, for translate that for me. And here, what we received here, if it, okay, we have the ID and we have the name. So by one flow, we run the flow and we find that all the name of this workspaces, and we find it on our teams. So we can create some flows, and we have not only for the workspace to run the report name or even the updated dates or we can find out how many reports have been updated since early this morning, and at the 5 p.m. every day, we can change this one. We can change this manually to get one. Let me remove that one, and then add the schedule one here. And then we can schedule that one and say every 1 minute, check that one and send it to me. So every 1 minute, I will receive a message from the chat from the bot with the name of those workspaces, because I run the group API. But I can modify that and say, okay, whenever there's something updated, so here, if the dataset updated, here we can say get the dataset update. For example, where is that? Yeah, history. Refresh history, get that one, check that with the date, and if it's happened today, create a list of that one and send that to me. So every day you can receive a table with the name of the report and the date that those reports are updated. So there are many APIs here. You can select what you can find out which one is suited for the solution you are looking for, and then use that here and then define that one. But we have that's pretty much about how to run this API by Power Automate. But I want to just show you how to run a DAX query with the Power Automate now, or run it that one. So let's send that again, but I don't want to bombard with that one. So let's keep that manual again. Okay, now we have this one, and that will send the API information there. But the other thing we can do is we can we can run a query against the dataset. Previously, there was an item here to run and execute the DAX query against a provided dataset. That was in the previous, before the Microsoft announced the new item or new action for Power Automate. Here, let me show you there. Save this one. Go to flow. Okay. And new instance flow again. So now if I go to Power BI here, you can see there is one item here, run a query. Where is that? Run a query against the dataset. Now you can run it without API. You just need to find the workspace. You don't need to find the ID of the workspace. You can find the workspace. For example, in the demo one, I have this demo PA, and I want to run a query against that one to create this table with the DAX. So here, I can select the demo. I can find the data sets in that demo here, and then I can just type the query here. So previously, without this action here, we had to use the API, but now it's much more easier. So now, if I want to create a same table here with the DAX and send that to the people, I said I want to send that table 2 times a day to some people, and they need to receive that on their email address. So let me show you how you can find the query there. So you can write the DAX query from the scratch for yourself, or the other thing is to get help from Power BI desktop. So here, if I open that file, so we have that table here. We want to write DAX code to find the same table. The output of that DAX code should be that same table. So what I need to do, just run the performance analyzer, go to the page one again, start recording or refresh visuals, and then I can find the table here, which is this one, and then copy the queries here. That's it. Paste it here. That's a query which will return that table for you, and then you can create a new item, create a table again, HTML table here, create a HTML table from the output of this one, the first row here. So run it again, save this one. Let's test it, see what that will return for us. Okay, that run the query there, and then find that this output here, and then here we can find this too. Oh, did I mention something wrong here? Maybe. Yeah, something not correct here when I copy that one here. So let me check my item here. So here I said read as the color more. Group, financial. Okay, so let's run it again. Or let's, rather than that one, let's refresh this one again, table again, query this one, remove this one. Okay, so let's run it again to see what is the output now. Visual background, this one. Interesting. Not demo P. Did I select the right one? Demo PA, and here in the demo PA. So yeah, okay. I can write this. Okay, so let's write it from scratch. Evaluate. Now we want to what we want to do. We want to summarize the table, which name is here. To summarize this table here in the collection. So what we need here, we need that one summarize with the year, because we have the year here, and then country year, that here, and then we need the country, and then we need sales, which need to be the sum of the sales. Let's test this one first, make sure that works well. Interesting. Maybe I forgot a parenthesis somewhere, so check that here. Okay, that's good. Well, why that doesn't work? Here, let's see why the issue here. Let's run the very easiest one. Controls. I want to see that works or not. And controls finance. Okay, this one. Let's test this one. Well, action requires will fail. Let me check one thing here first.
Since referencing financials is incorrect.
Maybe that's the thing, yeah, but financial is correct here. So let's back to Power Automate. Should be okay. Nah, not that one, something else. So let me just has admin power response with the X mashup. No, we don't need that one. Nah. Not sure what's going around. Let me show you somewhere else. Okay. Maybe this one. Thank you. Yes, I think that was the code. That was the. But I used the DAX format and I didn't find any wrong thing there. Let's check it. Maybe that's a parenthesis. No, not that one. Should be something else. Because I use the Sandbox. Something maybe goes around there. So let me check it here and the other tenant here. Here, if I go to this one, we have, for example, medal one. So I want to create a flow here, create it from instant flow. This one, create it here. And this one is in the test one. So Power BI, run the query against the dataset. Here I can set the test one, the FIFA. I need this one, yeah, FIFA 2. And then the evaluate 8. And then let's just write controls, parentheses, and then what is that one? The medal. Okay, thank you for the notification. Medal 1. Okay, so let's test it here. Yeah, that works here very well. So it shows 3 values are here. So if I show you there, the medal one, if I create another one and show the medals here, there are 3 bronze, gold, silver. I'm not sure what was the issue there. So if I want to create, for example, one item here, for example, medal bronze one, I can create again the desktop version and then run this query performance analysis, copy that one, paste it there, and then check that check the output here. So that's pretty much about this presentation. So let me do one thing else. What I can do, I can just publish that to the new tenant and take it there. Okay, so let's publish it to this tenant, to the test one. Okay, now we can copy the query back to here, the test one, and here, let's refresh that one. New one, Power BI, run the query against dataset. I publish that one here to test and demo PA, and then paste it here. Save it. Let's try to test it. Yeah, that works here very well. I'm not sure what was the issue. Oh, why did it return this one? First table row. Okay, so if I just, why is that one? Evaluate. Okay, evaluate that one. Count rows. Financials. I think that was the name of that. Financials. Yeah, let's test it now. See that works here or not. Yeah, that works now here. So I go there, copy this one back to here. Let's run this one. Interesting. Financial year, financial country, some financial sales. Not sure what is the issue right now. I need to dig in to find that one. Sorry for this one. Okay, if there is any question, I'm happy to answer.
Someone says there's a parenthesis too much.
I checked that. Well, yeah, I checked that one. Shouldn't be that one because here, if there is an issue here, if there is that one, should be an issue, and that will pick that up here. But maybe that one was that one. Some sales. Let's check it with this one, and then some, and then sales. The only thing can be there is the size, is the currency. Okay. So here, data queries, USB, fund, financial cannot. Oh, financial cannot be found, maybe used. That's interesting because I don't use this one. Run this. That will return a good output here. But for the others, not that. Okay, not sure what's going wrong.
Okay, so I guess the demo is at an end, and we've covered questions as we went along, but I've collected a few of my own. So what are some of the most common issues you faced with using the Power BI APIs? Not APIs in general, but the Power BI APIs.
For me, the most one, if you want to run some of those admin APIs, it's hard because you need to change the permission of your app, and that's the most one. If it was for me, because I wanted to run one API, which was for the admin one, and I didn't find any information in the documentation, Microsoft documentation, that you need to change the permission for that application. So for some of them, you need to remove some permission and keep some permission. So yeah, it depends on what you select that once. That took around 2 days or 3 days from me to find it out.
Okay, yeah. So one of the things to note is that the admin APIs, now we saw that you gave permission to the app registration or the service principal in the workspace. With the admin API requests, you have admin permissions, so you will see all of the workspaces listed in there. That's the difference.
That if you add, you need to add that service principal to all those three workspaces. But with the admin one, you need, when we wanted to add the permissions on Portal Azure, there was 2 groups, one the delegate one, the other one was the tenant one. We need to add one of those tenant one, and then with the tenant one admin right, you can get the information from all workspaces. Yeah.
And in some situations, I mean, you're not going to be allowed to add the API or the service principal to a personal workspace, but with the admin consent, you can actually, gain insight into what is actually being created on your tenant.
Yeah.
Completely.
You mean the my workspaces?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every person's my workspace.
Yeah, my workspaces. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any recommendations on one service principal for all jobs, or one for each, or how do you see that?
Depends. If you want to create that one, give the access to many more people, you need to use that to add it to the workspaces. But it depends. If you are admin and you are the only one you want to use that, if your solution, if you want to find one admin API and that will cover all your solutions, yes, use that one, use the admin one. That, for example, if you want to get the report names, you can run one API and find all report names. But otherwise, if you want to run the APIs for each group or workspace and then find the reports inside them, you need to create a loop and every time find the group, and then find the report in that group. So it depends who want to use those APIs.
Yes. So, and there's a question in the chat. When I use embedded setup for customers, will my customers not need to require credentials to view the reports?
No. Based on the information on that website, the Power Microsoft documentation and the information about that one. No, that's the reason they created that one, because they don't need to sign into Power BI and they don't need to have any licenses. They can use that one. You can use that app. Yeah.
Okay. So I have one final question. So are there any restrictions that I need to be aware of with using the Power BI REST API? Like, say, how much data can I get out if I query DAX? Is there limits that I need to know of?
Yes, for some of them, for some of the APIs, you have the limitation. For example, if you want to get the Power BI export, the Power BI for the PDF one or the other ones, you need to have the dedicated space. You need to have the premium space, not the PPU, premium per user. You need to have the premium, the capacity to use that one. The other thing is, if you wanted to export the file and the file is more than 1 gigabyte, that won't export that file. That will send you the link, and you need to use that link to get the file. So for some of those APIs, you need to read that information on that documentation. There are some limitations. Yeah.
Okay. That concludes my questions. So I want to thank you for a great presentation. There are always, struggles with the demo guys, and you handled that nicely. So we came through for a full-fledged presentation. So thank you for that, and thank you. I bet you're off to bed right now. It's late down in Sydney.
5:11.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we'll let you go. We'll stop the recording, and